Leadership development can often feel overwhelming because we talk about it like it's this one big thing. But actually, developing leaders is just developing one small skill after another after another. In this video, I share 3 activities that focus on really critical skills, but skills that are often not talked about. These activities give leaders a chance to experience these learning in action so that the learning really sticks. Hi, I'm Kerry Price. I'm the founder of the Facilitators Network, and I use the principles of deliberate generosity to make sure that no meeting or workshop is ever wasted. I've been facilitating for 20 odd years, and in that time I've led thousands of meetings, workshops and community conversations. Now I help other trainers and facilitators do it well too. It's one thing to talk about what makes a great leader. It's another thing to allow leaders to try that out and see what it feels like in action. In this video, I share 3 activities where leaders get to actually experience the impact that their behaviors make. And I'm not talking about cringy role plays. I'm talking about things that take the learning to a whole other level. Activity 1. This activity is called Horse and Rider, and it's all about what does it take to build, maintain and repair trust. Now, I'm not asking you to do a cringy trust fall where you don't know whether someone is going to catch you or not, but this activity does push people right to the edge of their comfort zone. So think carefully about where and when you introduce this to the session. How it works is you invite people to find a partner and decide which person is going to be the horse and which person is going to be the rider. The rider has one simple job. That is to guide the horse around the room, taking them as close to the edge of their comfort zone as they can, but at all times, keeping them safe. The horse has one job, and that is to trust the rider. So how it works is you invite the horse to close their eyes, and the rider puts their hands on the shoulders of the horse. To begin with, you just invite the rider to guide their horse around the room, slowly, carefully, making sure they don't bang into anything or anyone. After you've given them a minute or so to get familiar, you can then instruct the riders to push it a little harder. They need to push the horse to the edge of their comfort zone and no further. The trick is, though, no one's allowed to talk, so the horse can't tell the rider when they're starting to freak out. The rider just needs to be in tune with what's going on. After 90 seconds, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, you be the judge. Let riders know that you're going to invite them to swap horses. They need to do it silently. They need to eyeball someone across the room, make some kind of wink or a nod to say that we're going to swap. And then on go, one rider takes their hands off the shoulders of one horse and they swap players. At that point, the riders need to start going as fast as they can, again, without warm-up, without getting to know the horse, just away they go. Now, in this activity, you can keep changing the rules as often as you like. But the idea is that at the end of the activity, you want people to be able to reflect on when was it easy to trust the rider, when was trust broken, and how can you maintain it or repair it if it does get broken? So whatever rules you use will work fine. The power is in the debrief. What did you notice about the activity? What stood out for you? What surprised you? When did you feel you were able to trust the rider the most? And then, of course, once you've debriefed the activity, how does that relate to how we build, maintain, and repair trust back at work? Activity 2. This activity is called the Appreciation Circle. And I love this activity because showing your team appreciation is such an important part of being a great leader, but it's not so often talked about. If you're in a workshop where people know each other really well, you can use this activity at any point during the day. But if you're in a workshop where perhaps people have come from different environments, they don't work together normally, you can use this at the end of the day once people have had a chance to get to know each other. So how it works is I invite people to stand up and form a circle. In the middle of the circle, I lay out a bunch of different picture cards. It doesn't matter what the picture cards are, the bigger the variety, the better. Then I invite people to turn to their right and look at the person they're standing behind. I give them 30 seconds, a minute or so, to think about the person they're looking at and reflect on all of the things that they appreciate about them. Now, if they work together, they can think wider than the day, but if they've met them for the first time in this workshop, it's about reflecting on what they brought to the room. What was their energy, their characteristics? What did they really enjoy about being in their presence? Once everyone's had a chance to reflect on the person they're looking at, I invite them to turn into the center of the circle and choose a picture that represents that person to them. Once they've chosen a picture, they walk across the circle and find themselves a different place to stand. Now, to demonstrate how the next part of the activity works, I then join the circle. I choose a card that relates to the person who perhaps contracted me in, or the person I've had the most to do with in the lead up to the workshop. And I share how it works by appreciating that person using a card. So for example, I may have picked up this card and I might say, Corbin, what I really appreciated about you today and over these last days of filming is that you're really dedicated to my growth. You've given me really great notes and encouragement, and you've made me feel really safe to be able to put my head out of the concrete and show a little bit of brilliance. Then I would walk across the circle, pass the picture to Corbin, and Corbin gets to take that picture home as a reminder of what other people have seen in him. Then Corbin repeats the process with the picture he has picked up, gifting that and the words of encouragement to the person across the circle. Now, this activity is really powerful. There's often hugs and tears that go along with it, which just demonstrates to leaders the power that appreciation can really have on their team. Activity 3. Oh, I know I say this a lot in my videos, but seriously, this is one of my favorite activities. This activity is called the gift, and it really highlights the power of just being present and listening to your team. Often leaders want to rush in and fix things and give advice and solve problems, but really, often your team just needs you to sit and listen. So how this works is I invite people to find themselves a partner in a quiet space in the room, and I give them about 4 minutes for each person to share a current goal that they're working towards or a current challenge that they're facing. Now, if they're lucky enough not to have any current challenges and maybe they don't have a current goal, the invitation is to reflect on a goal they've recently reached or a challenge that they've recently overcome. And as a peer, they have about 4 minutes for each person to share that challenge or goal. And when one person is sharing, the other person just has to listen. They can't jump in with advice. They can't say, oh, that reminds me of a time when. They can't make it about them. They just have to use their body language to let their partner know they're really listening. They might say something like, I can hear that's important to you, or they might nod their head in agreement, but no sharing advice and no storytelling. This isn't about you. After about 4 minutes, when they've both had a chance to share, I introduce step 2 of the activity, and that is now each person has the opportunity to gift their partner something. They've just listened to them talk about a goal they're working towards or a challenge they're facing, and now they have all of the powers in the world to gift them anything. Money's no object. The gift doesn't even have to be real. They can make it up. The only rule is they must gift it to them with as much detail and care and exactness as if they were really holding it in their hands. Now, what happens in part 2 is quite amazing. The gifts that people choose to give each other are so perfect to the situation, and you can literally feel the level of connection grow in the room. This illustrates to leaders that instead of jumping in and solving problems right from the beginning, if they just wait some time, give it 4 minutes for the person to speak uninterrupted, the gift they can give their team member then is always so much better than if they jumped in and tried to fix it right from the start. Trust, appreciation, and really listening are just 3 skills that leaders need. But there are countless others that you'll want to cover too. If you head to my website, you can download a free copy of this resource. It's full of 45 activities that you can use to build connection and spark conversation in a group setting, and all of them relevant to leadership. Go to my website, the link's in the description below, go check it out.